Having a wee look now at standard form, it's a pretty straightforward topic. First of all, make sure you're familiar with notation. It's a number between 1 and 10, but not including 10, times 10 to the power of a whole number. So if we look here, the number is a 4, the power is a 4. If it's a 4, you move your decimal point forward 4 times. So 5.72. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you fill the gaps in with zeros. So that's 5, 7, 2, 0, 0. If it's a negative power, you move backwards. So 5.72. 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal point goes there. So it's not a point, and you've got 1, 2, 3 gaps to fill. 2, 3, 5, 7, 2. So if that's a positive number, it's a big number. If that's a negative power, it's a small number, as in one that's beneath 0, one that's beneath 1. To put this into standard form, you want it to move the decimal point from the end to between the first two digits. So it's 6.25 times 10, and you're moving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And if you look at this one here, you want to move the decimal point so it's between there. 6.25 times 10. This time you're moving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But because that's a number less than 1, it's a minus. So the minus indicates if it's a very small number, positive means it's a big number. Now adding and doing calculations in standard form. If you do adding and subtracting together, and the easiest way of doing this is to write them as ordinary numbers and then do the calculation. And then you turn the answer into standard form. So if I had 9.52 times 10 to the 5, I would write that out properly. And 6.3 times 10 to the 3, I would go over to the side, I would do my calculation. So subtract it, so it's 0, 0, 6, 6, 0, take away 0, 0, take away 0, borrow, 4, so it's 5, 4, and then 9. And then I put that answer into standard form. So my answer would be 9.454 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a big number, so it's a positive 5. All adding and subtracting do that in the same way. Through a couple of these now. We'll start off with the division one. So I would do the division of the do the number part first. 2.6 divided by 2 is 1.3. And then 10 to the 5 divided by 10 to the 2. So if you think about that, that means you've got 5 tens. You're dividing it by 2 tens. They cancel off, leaving you 3 tens. We'll be seeing more of that later on. But if you are dividing two indices, you can subtract the powers. So the answer is 1.3 times 10 to the 3. And that's in standard form, so it's absolutely fine. If I look at example 2 here, and we'll go for 3.43 times 10 to the negative 1, multiplied by 2 times 10 to the 5. Do your multiplication bit first. So it's 6.86, 6.86. And if you're multiplying two numbers, you add the powers. Minus 1, add 5 is 4. And that's that one done. Let's look at some of the ones which don't work out just as easy. So for example 3, if I had 2.4 times 10 to the minus 2, divided by 3 times 10 to the 6. So doing the number part, 2.4 divided by 3 is 0.8 times 10. You're dividing, so subtract the powers. Minus 3 take away 6 is minus 9. Now that is not in standard form. So I need to move this forward 1. So basically what I'm wanting to do here is I want to multiply that by 10. To keep this sum true, if I multiply that by 10, I have to divide this by 10. So that becomes 8 times 10 to the 1 up there. Divide number, subtract the powers. Minus 9, take away 1, minus 10. I'll do another one of those because those are awkward. So example 4. If I had 7.3 times 10 to the 6, times it by 3 times 10 to the minus 4. Do the calculation first. So it's 21.9. Multiply numbers, add the powers. 6 add minus 4 is the same as 6 take away 4, which is 2. So it's 10 to the 2. That's not in standard form. So what I'm wanting to do here is I'm wanting to divide this by 10. If I divide that by 10, to keep this side of the sum true, I must multiply this by 10. So that becomes 2.19 times 10 to the 3. I'm now going to have a look at standard form in a calculator. To get this right, you're best to use brackets and use the times 10 to the X button. That's the button which is down the bottom of your calculator. So for example, if I wanted to put in this sum here, 7.3 times 10 to the minus 3, well, I would use brackets to keep it all together. So bracket 7.3, press your standard form button. Now for your negative 3, make sure you use your negative button, which is that one up there. So negative 3, close the brackets, divide it by, and then open brackets again, 6.2, standard form button there, to the 5, and close your brackets, equals. Now the calculator is giving me this display. I would round that to 3 significant figures, so 1.18 times 10 to the minus 8. Don't forget to put that wee bit in at the end. Now I want to have a look at some of the questions on page 103 of your textbook. Some of these are quite tricky. The first one I'm going to look at is question 8. It says, a particle has a mass of 1.68 times 10 to the minus 24. Find the total mass of 2.5 million of these. So I'm going to times that by 2.5 million. So that's 2,500,000. Remember, million should have 6 figures after it. Now just putting that into the calculator. So I would use my brackets again. Brackets 1.68, standard form, negative 24, close the brackets, times 2,500,000 equals, the answer in standard form is 4.2 times 10 to the minus 18. Question 10 from the same page says, the area of India is 3.3 times 10 to the 6, and the area of the UK is 2.41 times 10 to the 5. What's the difference between them? So just writing it out, the calculation I'm going to put in, bracket the two numbers together, and again just using the calculator. So it's going to be brackets 3.3, standard form, 6, close brackets, minus, open brackets, 2.41, standard form, 5, close brackets, equals. Now that answer is not in standard form. I'm going to put that in standard form by putting the decimal point between the 3 and the 0. So it's 3.059 times 10 to the decimal points at the end. I'm going to have to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And that's it in standard form. Now at question 11, I want to have a look at it. It says in question 11, a large stone has a mass of 5.5 times 10 to the 2. So mass is 5.5 times 10 to the 2. And the volume of that is 2.5 times 10 to the minus 1. What is its density? Now you've seen this in science, the mass, density, volume triangle. So mass, density, volume. Must be in that order. Now you're looking for the density. Density is mass over volume. Mass over volume. So it's 5.5 times 10 to the 2 divided by 2.5 times 10 to the minus 1. Now I'll just do this wee one without a calculator, just to remind you on how you do that. So move this decimal point twice because of the 2. So it's 550, it's twice. And for this one here, you're going to move it back. So it's 0.25. So I'm going to do another practice of division by decimals. So it's 550 over 0.25. So it's 550 over 0.25. Now 0.25 is a fraction, so I could just write that as 550 divided by a quarter. To divide by a quarter, you turn it upside down and multiply. So that's 550 times 4 over 1 if you want. So 4 noughts, 4 5s are 20, but down 0 carry your 2, 4 5s are 20 plus the 2 you're carrying. That's probably the quickest and easiest way of doing that. If you did go through the decimal division by moving the decimal point, you'd have got this 550. You've got to move the decimal point twice, so you must move it twice up there. So 2 extra zeros, divide it by 25. To divide by 25, what I would do is I'd divide by 5 first to get you 11000, then divide that by 5. 5 into 11 goes twice with 1 over, 5 into 10 goes twice, and 5 into 0, and 5 into 0. So you get exactly the same answer.